the latest argument is that every 18 years, there's an 18-year cycle where houses plunge.
It's so arbitrary, you know?
And then they go, we can prove it. But there is a gap right after world. They show where there's gaps. And they point to 18 years ago was the Great Recession. And 18 years prior to that was 01. That was savings and loan scandal. But that was not, we did not have values plunge across the United States. We had values plunge just in California and Hawaii, where the savings and loan scandal was that's where the bottleneck was at. But the rest of the country is actually going up. So overall for the year, we were down 1% as a country. That's not an 18-year plunging distressed cycle. It was just here in California. It was bad in California, but we did bad things then. It was loans. We did bad things that led up to the Great Recession. We did bad things that led up to the Great Depression. So there has to be something in the mix that makes the homeowners, the housing stock, something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
This is the healthiest housing stock we've ever had.
All right, everybody, we are back, and I'm really excited because what we have here today is the most well-known and famous housing economist, housing analyst in our Southern California marketplace. Now, I know you have, you're focusing on areas outside of just Southern California, but you are an icon here, and we just had you at our housing forecast too.
That was
fun. I bring to you, everybody, Stephen Thomas with Reports on Housing. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So it's the new year. Everybody wants to know a couple things. Where are interest rates going? What's happening to housing values? You know, if you pay attention to what's going on traditional social media and mainstream media outlets, it's all, you know, housing crash and housing's in a free fall. Of course, we know real estate's local, and we're going to kind of hone in on that here in Orange County, LA County, Southern California. But let's start with interest rates, because I think that's probably what's on everyone's mind right now. How is this year different from last year in a starting point?
Well, we're at this time last year, we were above 7%.
Right.
And we've been below 6.5% now since September 3rd. And pretty much we got down because of the job numbers weakening and the job market not being like super hot.
Yeah.
We saw the interest rate float from last May, where it was above 7% at the end of last May, down to below 6.5% starting on September 3rd. And ever since then, it went down a little bit more and then went flat. So we've been right there at about between 6.3 down to 6.1. We actually knocked on the door of 6%, but then.
Did I hear you say that didn't happen until like September-ish?
September 3rd is when we went below 6.5. And we've been below 6.5% with duration. And we haven't had a winter and spring housing market that is aligned with when everybody does most of their transactions.
And that's because interest rates were always so elevated.
They were so elevated. So we were stuck above 6.5% for the winter and spring for the last couple of years. Yeah. And the year before that, the Federal Reserve was still ratcheting up rates through July of 2023. So we have not had a really good environment for rates since we had good rates back in the start of 2022. We're not going to go back to that, so don't get ahead of themselves.
Don't jinx it, Stephen.
I'm all about setting proper expectations. Yes. I'm not jinxing anything, because
you're the data man. So
it would take a disaster to get down into the fours, and nobody wants a disaster. So
we don't necessarily want rates to go down to the fours. And I know saying that's blasphemy in our industry.
Right.
But we also don't want it to go to 7 or 8. What we want is, I think, some normalcy and duration to that normalcy. Because like in the last 3 years, every time we had any hope about rates settling down, it was always a head fake, right? Because within a week, 2, maybe a month at the most, what did they do? They went right back up again. So you said something that I want the audience to capture is last year, we didn't realize sub 6.5%. Is that what you said? Interest rates until September 3rd?
Till September 3rd.
Yeah. Now, our starting point this year is 6.05 or something like that? 6.1?
I think we're like 6. I think the last read is 6.1.
Yeah.
From Freddie Mac's primary mortgage market survey.
Sales price versus interest rates. what has a higher impact on affordability for home buyers?
Well, right now, because we're not going to get deterioration in sales price like everybody wants.
Yeah.
Instead, the vast majority of prognosticators say it's going to be pretty flat, maybe up 1% for this year.
As far as property value goes.
Property value goes. So where are they going to get any relief? It's going to be in these lower rates.
Yeah.
So going from 7% down to 6% is a big jump as far as the number of families that are able to purchase a home. It increases the number by 2 million.
Does it really?
Yeah, going from 7% to 6%.
And are we talking like at a statewide scale?
No, we're
national
talking
scale?
national scale.
Okay.
Which is good because, and you can tell, we're in Southern California. Matter of fact, we're sitting in Orange County, where the median price value is so high that every 0.25% that the interest rate drops is a giant leap in the amount of home you can afford.
And is that because price points are so high?
Yeah, because of, yes, exactly.
What is the price point on average here in Orange County right now?
Gosh, it's been hovering. I mean, the median sales price is a little over $1.3 million.
Yeah. It's insane.
For a detached house.
It's insane. Like, I tell the story, but we bought in 2010 our first home. Fountain Valley home, starter home, 1,300 square feet with good bones, but not a fixer-upper. It was original owner, well kept. We bought it for $520,000. You know, FHA loan 3.5%. And of course, today that home is worth, if you look it up on Zillow, 1.3, 1.4 million. Not much has changed with that home, by the way.
Right.
Other than time and inflation.
I totally get it.
It's insane. So interest rates are definitely. Am I hearing you say interest rates are the defining factor here in affordability?
Yeah, it really does boil down to that. Even though all the doomers and everybody there that's like plugged into the doomer talk, they're being steered the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And they're all hoping values come down. And I had this one guy going back and forth trying to support the doomers, and I just can't support it because I'm about setting expectations. And he goes, well, then fix the housing market. Well, that's not I'm not the one that's supposed to fix housing and
it's not your responsibility. It's to report the data.
Right. So I was waving my hands and screaming when values were going up too fast, and said it was the most unhealthy housing market that I had ever been a part of. Even I'm a third generation broker, and it was just the most unhealthy housing market that we could possibly have.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that because half the country can't afford a home, which is what this one commenter was stating, that values they have to go down.
Yeah. Well, let's address that, because every time I talk to you, I at least want to give that a little attention because, well, let's face it, outside of interest rates, the ideology of doomers is real estate's going to crash. And I never hear them talk about the thing that I think is the most important thing. Like, we're talking about 2008, like it's some sort of common occurrence. And we all know, well, I shouldn't say we all know, at least you know that's not true.
No.
A subprime crisis, a credit crisis like that, at that proportion, last time we experienced something at that level was the Great Depression, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're pointing to that like that's like an everyday occurrence, like COVID might be an everyday occurrence, even though it's an every 100-year pandemic. And like the people that got loans in the last 10 years, this is what nobody ever talks about. They have fixed housing cost.
Right.
Like they can't get behind the idea that the United States is unique, or I think the only ones with 30-year fixed. And the people in the last 10 or 15 years post subprime era crisis have 30-year fixed at 3, 4, 2%.
Right.
And their property tax in California is Prop 13.
Right.
2% a year increase, which is not much. The only thing that's really moved the needle at all is homeowners insurance. So think about that. Wage inflation over the last 10 or 15 years, property value has gone up. Why would somebody sell their home? And they're not going to be in distress. They have a very affordable payment. They have tons of equity. What is it how do they overcome that argument, out of curiosity?
How do they overcome that argument and actually?
When you point that out to them, it's like so obvious.
Yeah, it's like the latest argument is that every 18 years, there's an 18-year cycle where houses plunge.
It's so arbitrary, you know?
And then they go, we can prove it. But there is a gap right after they show where there's gaps. And they point to 18 years ago was the Great Recession. 18 years prior to that was 2001. That was savings and loan scandal.
Yeah.
But that was not We did not have values plunge across the United States. We had values plunge just in California and Hawaii, where the savings and loan scandal was that's where the bottleneck was at. But the rest of the country is actually going up. So overall, for the year, we were down 1% as a country. That's not an 18-year plunging, distressed cycle. It was just here in California. It was bad in California, but we did bad things then. It was loans. We did bad things that led up to the Great Recession. We did bad things that led up to the Great Depression. So there has to be something in the mix that makes the homeowners, the housing stock, something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
This is the healthiest housing stock we've ever had.
So we're talking about maybe the silver tsunami? Is that what they point to?
Gosh, man. I guess I'm part of it.
What's the silver tsunami? Yes, silver. A little bit, but it looks good on you.
Yes, but so the silver tsunami, that's also, I already hear, was at a presentation yesterday where there was this guy that, is about my age and said, I'm going to a lot more funerals and I'm selling more of the people that I know, their houses that are there, they pass away.
I'm noticing it too around my neighborhood.
Yeah, but I'm also, we live in older neighborhoods, or if you're my age, you start going to more funerals than you are going to weddings, and it's just our age.
Yeah,
so
that's true too.
There will be people that will pass away, and yes, there will be a greater number of baby boomers that pass away, but it's going to be more like a dial.
Yeah,
it's just this slow-moving dial where it's not going to be this wave of inventory. We started off this year with 1,180,000 homes on the market. That's residential resale, courtesy of National Association of Realtors. Their data goes
resale,
back to
so not new construction, basically. Yeah,
it goes back to 1982. And during the Great Recession, we had 4 million homes on the market in 06, 07, 08, and it was just filled with people that were upside down in their homes,
they got loans when they shouldn't have,
and they got loans they should have never got.
Well, that's the other point about fixed housing costs. All the people that got those 30-year fixed in the last 15 years had to genuinely qualify.
Yeah, well, that was
Dodd-Frank, right?
And people are saying Dodd-Frank's really limited things. What it's created is a very healthy situation so that we don't repeat what happened during the Great Recession, because history likes to repeat itself and oftentimes rhymes, which is why the savings and loan scandal, and then you heard and then everybody felt the repercussions of the Great Recession. So we sometimes don't learn from it, but we can. And right now, it's not that time where it's all of a sudden going to be the national delinquency rate is going to spike. It's just not going to happen. And people say, yeah, FHA, I heard all about FHA. And that's the middle of the country. That's so Louisiana and Mississippi. There's some areas over there that are susceptible to more FHA.
It could be an alien invasion. Does it. You never know.
Somebody said, what would it take for values to plunge? And it's what we actually call, it's a term I learned from Leslie Appleton Young. She was the chief economist for California Association of Realtors before she retired, and she called it an exogenous shock.
Okay.
An outside force.
But how ambiguous? Alien invasion. Or
a pandemic. And a pandemic was supposed to bring us down.
So
it didn't.
So maybe their credit, is there a possibility that something happens that we could never potentially predict, like COVID, that impacts housing? Yes, but do we lead our lives with that at the forefront of our mind, making all of our decisions for us?
Right.
Right. Are we anticipating, well, there could be an alien invasion? We can't buy housing. It's like,
seriously,
I don't know.
Yeah,
you buy your home to live in it. I don't know what the makeup is in Orange County of investors and rentals versus primary, but I think a big chunk is primary residence purchases.
Yeah, I mean, no, and then we still have plenty of investors that are out there. It's across the country. It's like one out of 5 or 1 out of 4 are investor purchases.
Sure. So say 80-20 rule or something like that, where people, again, I always harp on this. People forget that they're buying a home to live in it.
Right. It's not.
They're not buying Apple stock.
No.
It's not like you wake up one day on your Robinhood or Charles Schwab account and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to sell.
No, exactly.
If you have kids going to school, dogs, you like your neighborhood, you're part of a community, fixed housing costs, so it's affordable. And everyone says inflation's bad. Well, we're a debt-based society, and it's not just inflation on housing and anything else. It's also inflation on your wages, right? When your fixed housing cost stays here, but your wages over the next 10 years goes here, this is all I'm saying is the amount of overthinking going into whether or not somebody should buy a home is pretty intense. And it's like overstimulation with all the social media platforms.
They pull out the household income has gone up more than 20% since 2020. So no one talks about that ever, because that doesn't support their argument that houses are supposed to plunge.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is housing is going to crash.
Yeah.
I like that joke for some reason.
That is not what I'm saying, and it's not going to crash, and people hate it. Like they say, that's because you work within the real estate industry and you have your pom-poms out.
Yeah.
And
you're a data guy.
That? I'm a data guy.
I think you would point to a crash if it was coming.
Like Great Recession.
Yeah.
I'm in 06, and I'm looking at in September of 06, and I went, something is wrong. And that's where we hit 3 million homes across the United States. Remember, we had 1,180,000 in December from National Association of Realtors. We had 3 million almost in the fall of 2000. Did I say 06? I meant 05. It's fall 2005. Even prior to we were robust earlier in the year, but by the fall of 2005, something was wrong.
You knew something was coming.
In 05.
Yeah.
In 06, 100%. I already knew it. My expected market time thing was, it's not days on market. Days on market's a horrific statistic.
Yeah.
I do a true absorption rate of everything available based upon pending sales activity, and I call it expected market time. And it's a division that we do. And
that's what you put in your housing report.
Yeah,
right?
because during the Great Recession, days on market average was 90 days when they first went into it. And my expected market time was over 400-day expected market.
Really?
Making its way to 500.
All right, at a high level, can you help us understand the difference real quick?
Days on market is you have a whole bunch of people placing their homes on the market. Banks, short sales, all these people pulling and then sometimes they'd pull their homes off the market, become a foreclosure. I mean, there was so much going on.
So there's
a lot of new properties. And so the average and medians was artificially low. And when you looked at closed sales, a lot of people priced it right, and banks said, if you sell it within the first 30 days, you get a bonus of this kind of commission.
So they were trying to offload their inventory.
They were all trying to offload it, and they were doing whatever they could to do it. So a lot of the stuff turned and burned. So the average and median days on market was really low. But there was a lot of people out there that were languishing on the market. So
it skewed the days on market to reflect something that wasn't actually
accurate.
Yeah.
So and here's the way to understand it. And I started the housing report because I did it in the 90s for buyers and sellers when I represented buyers and sellers. But then I was helping run a company when I hung up my hat in 2003. And then in the spring of 2004, is June of 2004, all of a sudden a gargantuan number of homes started coming on the market really quick. And it spiked, the number of homes coming on the market, and the number of pending sales activity went down. And if you looked at days on market, all of a sudden it was falling like a rock.
Oh.
But does that sound like a recipe of a hot housing market?
Not.
No.
But on the surface, you could draw that conclusion.
You can't. But so that's just by looking at average and median days on market. But my expected market time was shooting up while the days on market was shooting down. And really, then after that, that's when we should have probably should have reset, and housing values could have come down, or it could have gone down towards very little appreciation. That's when subprime took root. Was in June of.
Here's all your free money that you shouldn't get.
Yeah, here, fog a mirror. We need to do more of these loans, subprime and everything else. And then it really got out of hand in 04.
Yeah.
The second half of 04, all of 05. We were still doing it in 06. And it wasn't until March of 07 when all of a sudden, that's when everybody knew there was a major problem. And that's when it really began, was March of 2007.
So fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. As far as like fast forwarding back to today with what you just shared, property values, inventory, do you recollect in the heart of the subprime crisis what Orange County inventory was? And What is it today, just for perspective?
Yeah, so we were dealing with
Just roughly speaking.
Yeah, roughly speaking, we were dealing with probably about 8,000 homes on the market is where it would peak. And then after...
Didn't it get to like 14,000 at one point or something?
No, 18,000.
Really?
So many homes coming on the market when you get to 18,000.
When was that? It was like,
wow, this is looking like a great opportunity for buyers. It wasn't. That was 07.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That was right before the crash.
1,000. We hit 16,000 in 06. So I already knew. People said, you don't even know what you're talking about. You can't even see anything coming. It's going to surprise you. You don't know what you're talking about. Doomers know what they're talking about because it's got to happen. I said, no, we'll see it. Economics is slow and boring.
So back then, the script was reversed.
Right.
The doomers were the ones that didn't know what they were talking about. Today, it's the opposite, where the doomers know what they're talking about. It feels like you're always on the opposite side of the fence.
It's not funny. Because there's people going, but in a good way, keep on going. I'm going, no, it's not. 06, I was going, no, it's not. Hey, everybody. But I had a small voice, and it was just within a company at that time. And that company got swallowed up during the Great Recession.
Yeah.
So
your voice is much bigger now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Your audience.
And I learned from that. And I learned, hey, I really can see. It's not like reading the tea leaves.
Yeah.
It's not anything that it's slow.
Yeah.
Housing is like a big giant cruise ship that is in a canal that it has to make a U-turn. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time for it to happen before it turns that cruise ship around. So
cruise ships don't U-turn like Mazda Miatas, is what you're saying. Okay, got it.
Not at all. So that's a really good analogy for it. And the reason it's a good analogy for it is because that's the way economics is.
Sorry, I've never liked the Mazda Miata. What a goofy car. Sorry. And wait, what's the inventory rate on Orange County?
A little over 3,000 homes on the market.
I just want people to hear that, though, okay? So, like...
versus 18 or 16?
Back when there actually was a crash in Orange County, we had anywhere from, 8,000 to 18,000 homes?
The problem with Orange County is it's far below its 3-year average number of homes on the market prior to the pandemic.
Like 5,000 or 6,000 homes?
We should be at, 5,000 homes now, making our way up to 6.
Didn't we make it there last year?
No, not in Orange County. In many. LA is above.
You're saying that was the 3-year average.
The 3-year average is 17, 18, 19. We're not even there. We're there in LA.
Yeah.
But
what's different about LA versus Orange County? Why is there such a spread there in terms of, so LA County, for those that don't know, their inventory spiked more than Orange County, or is it relative?
It's not like it's way out of bounds. It's not where it was. Didn't have during the pandemic.
But it did become a slight buyer's market, didn't it? Last year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we saw deterioration in value. And we've seen that in other markets as well. We saw that in Riverside County, where it went down a little over 2% annually, if you look at it. Depending upon who you look at.
Wait, not a bad thing.
No,
right.
It's not gigantic either. But across the United States, you add up the positives and the negatives, and it's positive slightly. And when you're up a couple percent year over year for the nation, that means somebody had to drag that percentage down because we have the Northeast that's just kicking behind.
Is it still?
Yeah.
Yeah, Northeast, so like New York and
they have an issue with they have an inventory issue that they haven't been able. Well, we have an issue with space too, but we also have cost. That's our other issue that puts a lid on demand. But then because it's the cost is where it's at, we have an issue of homeowners not placing their homes on the market.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think a lot of people, your average consumer or potential homeowner, is looking at Fox News, CNN, CNBC, and getting their news on real estate from them. And they're looking at it, there's 2 layers to this. They're looking at it on a national scale. Mm-hmm. And then the other layer is, this is mainstream media. What is their job?
Yeah, it's to sensationalize.
Their job is to sensationalize everything. So now you've got this broad stroke that has nothing to do with your local marketplace. And it's being fed through the lens of a salacious clickbait type stuff to sell ads and get viewership. It's so obvious what's happening with propaganda. Yeah. But people I think the fear response in human beings is a very natural thing, and we're drawn to it, right? Yeah. And that's why they do it. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason that, I'm a big proponent of your work and we're a sponsor, and we're doing the forecast, and we're in the podcast room because you're like this voice crying in the wilderness in our local marketplace, and it needs to be heard. I'd love to see how is your viewership in terms of comparing realtors to actual homeowners or potential homeowners, out of curiosity? Have you ever looked at that?
We do get the viewership is like it's a mix. It's a good healthy mix between the two of them. But it's also with a real estate population that tunes in. It's they feel it, they kind of understand it. But this is like the nuts and bolts behind it so they can explain it. And that's what I provide. It's all about the proper setting expectations. I look at
we got to get consumers' eyes on your message.
Yeah, it's so hard because I'm not doing the clickbait stuff.
You need to wear shinier socks, Stephen.
Right, I need better socks.
That'll do it. That's the trick.
The title of this episode is going to be about aliens. Yes, Val.
Aliens, shiny socks, and the real estate bust. Right? The ultimate clickbait.
Yeah, and that's that's unfortunately the way that it works. It reminds me of Matrix. It's like we plug in, but we plug into whatever our channel is because that's the way the algorithms work.
Yeah.
If you're on one side of the political spectrum, you get to plug in to just hear this. If you're on the other side, you get to plug into just this.
It makes me feel so programmed as like a person, though. It's like I don't want to be part of that program.
We don't have opinions, and if you wonder why we're not supposed to be like saying that we're firing the Federal Reserve and we shouldn't be looking at Jerome Powell, he might stay on as the Federal Reserve chair because to save the integrity of the Federal Reserve because it's under attack. And you don't want anybody there that's a yes man. Do your own homework. It's called homework. Remember that, where we come up with our own opinion?
Are you talking about critical thinking?
Critical thinking. Like actually, maybe look at Burns and Nixon. Why don't you just Google Burns and Nixon and figure out what really happened?
Yeah.
And we had a real bad inflation problem, and that's what happens when you spike the punch bowl, which is what they want to do with interest rates.
You're talking about removing the gold standard. Is that what you're talking about?
They removed the gold standard, but that wasn't it. It's also a very, very accommodative interest rate. The short-term federal funds rate moves.
Yes. Well, let's talk about the Fed, though, right?
Right.
Because I'm glad you brought that up. You're the one steering the ship here, clearly, Stephen. I just work here. But
more of the Matrix. He's bad. Fire him.
I know.
And people don't understand the Federal Reserve.
Well, you have to wonder, is there an agenda behind that sometimes? I'm not going to get into political conspiracy theories here, but sometimes I wonder what's really behind that. So the point is, Jerome Powell, he's the Fed chair.
Yeah.
Does he have one more meeting before he gets replaced? Because the new appointee, Kevin
Hassett.
No,
Warsh.
Don't know why. Kevin, we were just
do that again. Do it again.
All right, now we're even. So Kevin Warsh just got named today.
Right? Yeah.
Isn't that funny? We're meeting today, and I did not plan that. Just so you're
What's
aware.
even funnier is my son and I were going back and forth. You look, what should we do? Because we have our own podcast. Let's talk housing, reports on housing. And then what we did is we said, so what are we gonna do? We go back and forth. It's fun. I'm on the freeway. He's there. We're just talking, that type of thing. And
this was before he was named.
This was a couple days ago, and we go, why don't we do it on the new Fed chair? How is it going to affect the housing market?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. We'll do that. So that's what I'm putting together right now. And then last night they said, yep, we got a new Fed chair.
I'm going to help you collaborate. This is a precursor.
That's exactly it.
Not that I'm an add value to housing geeks, but we'll see. That's what you're known as, the housing geek, right?
Yeah, I am a housing geek.
Yes.
Absolutely love it.
What do your socks say, by the way?
It says, talk to me, nerd.
Talk nerdy to me.
Talk nerdy to me.
Yes. We have to point out the socks.
Yeah, they're there.
They're not just red. They're quite
They're
fun.
there. They're
a true economist socks.
Do you see them? They say, talk nerdy to me. You got that? Yeah, good. If you're listening to this, that's what they say.
Yes.
But I do have them because we used to wear ties back in the day.
Yes. My hope is that the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, wear socks like that.
They are nerdy.
Yeah.
And it's a good group of people. That's what Jerome Powell was saying. Well, whoever the new person is, it's a great group of people. You'll never work with anybody like them. It's just a lot of smart people that care about a dual mandate, maximum employment and price stability.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of nerdy master's degree and doctorate degrees, a whole bunch of them, a sea of them that help them understand.
Do you think there's a case of paralysis by analysis with all that going on at the Fed? Or do you think they know what they're doing? Do you have faith in them? Because I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because a lot of people, the average consumer, when they think about the Federal Reserve and their experience, looking 5 years back, what they decided to do during COVID, right? And then how they responded after COVID with the aggressive interest rate spike and all the rest, right? These things impact the everyday experience of your average citizen in the United States of America. And I'm not going to say for the better, because COVID, we all got the sugar high, right? And everyone thought they were getting rich, but what we didn't realize at the time, we do now, is that was all artificial stimulus, and it was not sustainable. And then because they took things too far, they had to smash on the brakes, and immediately the music stopped. And then it's been this, not every industry, but a lot of industries, freight, right? Mortgage, real estate, commercial, whatever, banking, has been on struggle bus for the last 3 years, and it's all because of these policy decisions. So, I think the average consumer is looking at the Federal Reserve and saying, what is wrong with you guys? Because when they hear all these PhDs coming together, Fed independence, but what a mess, right?
Yeah, well, we caused them. We're messy anyways.
I know it.
We're like a toddler.
Talking about
Have you ever seen toddler eat spaghetti?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the way that we are and the way that we treat things. That's how we got into the savings and loan scandal, the Great Recession, all the ridiculous things that we did. And then we could no longer do that anymore. Well, that's because you should never done that.
Screw it up. Yes.
Yeah. And then we had a pandemic. There were repercussions of pandemics. There will be because of supply chain issues, because we were definitely we're moving away from it, but we were definitely internationally entwined very, very much so, and we still are to this day.
Supply chains and all that.
Yeah, you have all these supply chain issues and everything else that causes a ripple effect when things shut down, and you have extra money and things because we want to get people across from when we shut everybody down to where a bridge across the troubled waters. Do they leave everything too accommodated for too long? Yes.
Yeah.
And we're allowed to do that. It's called Monday morning quarterbacking.
I like this perspective.
At the end of the day, they are
Are you calling me a Monday morning quarterback?
Yeah, we all are. I am too. You should hear me. You should hear me on Wednesday.
All right, I'm willing to admit it. Fine.
I like to. You should, and I like hockey too. And I'm sitting there in my armchair. Why are they doing that? Because that's the way that we're programmed to do that. But with the way that the Federal Reserve works, they're in there trying to fix the broken machine, and they did the best they could during a pandemic.
Yeah.
The best they could during the Great Recession. The issue that I have is they're too transparent.
Too much talking.
There's way too many talking heads.
Yeah.
They used to not talk to a fault, but it still felt like they were driving the bus. And
that gave them the independence and sense of insulation from too much transparency.
Right. But now what's happened with social media and all the different channels and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and everything else is it's just increased the volume. So it's just so loud all the time. And everybody has an opinion about everything, and they don't even understand it. I go into rooms, talk, and they say, yep, Jerome Powell should be fired. Do you even know how the Federal Reserve works? He's one person out of 19. And he's just the one that has the gavel and steers the conversation around you're next, that type of thing, and does the public front person for the Federal Reserve on Wednesdays when they meet. And other than that, he's one vote.
Yeah.
And
he's just the face, and I do feel a little bit bad. I do feel bad for him.
I mean,
he's probably happy to be.
I don't know. He might stay. He
might have to.
Yeah.
I don't think Congress is necessarily going to, if I understand it correctly,
approve
Kevin Warsh until they have this. They're either going to the current administration. I don't like to say the name, by the way, because it flags us on YouTube and stuff. The current administration, it's one of those things where. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, well, it's what they're going to this. They have to drop
the case.
They want to be able to fire. Right now, they have a case. Right now, they're suing.
But they have to drop the case if it's going to stop Kevin Warsh from being appointed. Is my point.
It's not going to be so easy to wash your hands of Jerome Powell, is it?
It had to.
I said it first here. That's probably the first time we're going to hear that.
You should use that for sure.
I'm going to. I'm definitely going to.
How many years is he going to be the Fed? That joke is going to get old.
The other thing. Yes. And people wonder, how long is he going to be the chair of the Federal Reserve? It depends.
Are we talking about worse? Or are we
worse.
talking about, okay.
Eventually, this is going to go away. They're going to have to in order to make it happen. I mean, as much as you want to be able to sue and our stuff, it's just
it's a
all
PR
this stuff
stunt.
is.
Yeah.
It's why I don't like politics. There's way too much grandstanding and a lot of promises, and then things don't happen, and people react to all the different things that they say, and we're going to do this, and they do none of it. That's politics. I don't like politics.
It feels very primal, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's not P for politics. It's
Yeah,
for primal. It's like the most prehistoric version of our species and the worst of it coming out. So it's like, is there a better way to do this?
Yeah, and what's so funny is the general public has no idea about the Federal Reserve, but they have a giant opinion about the Federal Reserve, and they're in the limelight all the time. So I have to educate countless numbers of agents and anybody in the real estate industry to understand the makeup of the Federal Reserve, had to do so much research on it, and so that people could be more equipped to understand what's really going on. Because I've had people that are, and I will never mention their names,
We're not talking about realtors.
Yeah.
That can't be possible.
Right.
True.
At like 9 o'clock at night texting me.
Hey, at least it's not after 9 a.m.
I know, it's so Steven. So, yeah. So, if they fire Jerome Powell, are we finally going to get interest rates in the fours? And it's like, you have no idea how the Federal Reserve works. That would be the dumbest thing, first of all. You'd actually have higher interest rates. I don't know what you're rooting for, because now Fed independence has been compromised.
Yeah, we need Fed independence. And then if interest rates drop to the fours, that is a bad thing, because that means the economy is falling off a cliff in a bad way, right?
Right.
When interest rates drop significantly like that, what do you think happened during COVID, everyone?
It's too stimulating.
Yeah.
Is really what it happens.
Too much of a good thing.
Too much of a good thing. And have you ever seen a kid on lots and lots and lots and lots of sugar? After a while, they crash.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And go look up, like I said, you got to look up Nixon and
Did you say the word crash?
Yeah, not
No, real.
Yeah. The only thing that's going to
misunderstand
happen.
it.
So don't misunderstand me. There's a crash in the economy.
Yeah.
And if that happens, then they don't have as many levers because they've already blown the reputation. So there's a lot of different reasons why you just want to leave them alone.
The funny thing about this is Kevin Warsh, the current administration's new man that they appointed, at the end of the day, what you just referred to earlier, they think that somehow the Federal Reserve is a king. He's not a king. He can't just wave a magic wand and lower interest rates. How many votes are there? Like 12?
12. And you need 7 out of the 12.
So you need 7. And he's not, like, his one vote only counts as one vote. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And they're always looking for consensus. So what's going to be fascinating is to reveal if the emperor has no clothes, in the sense that when Jerome Powell leaves, or the other reserve chair people, or whatever they're called, just following along because he was the leader, or are their opinions going to change because the new Fed chair is going to have a leniency towards or an idea of lowering interest rates?
I know I've heard them all speak. They are very ingrained in how they feel, which is why Warsh is a weird pick, because he was what they refer to as a hawk before, but he's been talking dovish, and there's a lot of reasons why he's been vying for this position. And he's going to be in this position, but after this administration is done, we're wondering, okay, now what kind of a Warsh are we going to get? Yeah, no, and people think that that it's political. Once again, it's not politics. This is not politics.
Yeah.
This is entirely this reserve board that's supposed to be completely independent and watching their dual mandate. That's it. They need to be like nerds. They talk like nerds. They're nerds like me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that work there that are passionate about numbers. And that's really what it is. There are 19 members of the Federal Reserve Board. 7 of them are appointed by the President of the United States. The other 12 are regional bank. They are head of their regional banks, and they're installed by a board of directors.
Yeah. So you're talking about, what you're pointing to is the way the United States is set up in general, which is checks and balances.
Yes.
Yes.
So those 12, they don't all get a vote. one of them, New York, gets a vote all the time. The other 5 rotate on an every other year basis or every 3-year basis. And so the makeup of it, and then you need 7 out of 12 to agree for rates to go up or down. If you have 6 out of 12 tie, it does nothing. So at the end of the day, we're not going to see rates.
I was going to ask you. So with all that being said, do we get any more interest rate cuts this year after Jerome exits stage left?
No, because even with if you look to see what's happened with where the markets think that what's going to happen, what are priced in for the year, really they've priced in 1. So, and then there's a lot of people saying 2.
I thought I heard 2.
2, it just depends. It's like so close. You should see where the dots are.
Again, data
it's
dependent.
Between 1 and 2. And really, it's all data dependent. They were saying the same thing last year, and they did more than that. So they ended up dropping it 3 consecutive times to close out our year.
Well, you also have an opinion in our local marketplace. If I've heard, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong. Your opinion is you actually don't want to see interest rates head down aggressively and too quickly. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
You did.
Why is that? And I agree with you, and I know the answer, but I want the audience to hear it.
It's unfortunate because, everybody in the lending, all lenders, title,
they want
real
easy
estate.
street. Yes.
They want rates in the 5s.
Yeah.
I want rates.
Technically some of them are.
I want rates in the 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically some of them are, but the general public out there sees them. They're right at above 6.
6%, yeah.
And that's where I want to be. I want to play here. And I want to play here for the first half of this year and then next second
I'm happy
half.
if all year we get to play in this space.
Well, the reason I'm happy with it being down where we're at right now is because the millennials and Gen Zs have been wanting to purchase.
Yeah.
Now, if we all of a sudden got into 5s, it will create, already we're going to create more demand by being below 6.5% to match up with our winter and spring markets. And if we were to go into the 5s, now you're increasing even more demand. And people go, there will be more homeowners that are coming on. The buyer swell will increase more than the inventory
I was going to ask you, so do you think the buyer swell increases more than the seller swell?
Yes, it does.
Doesn't lower interest rates also get some sellers off the fence?
But not as many buyers that will be resurrected. See, and where I'm concerned the most is the entry-level price ranges for markets. And that is where
it's affordable.
It's already tight.
Yeah. One-bedroom condos, whatever.
Yeah, and even for Orange County, this is going to sound really expensive, but our entry level is $750,000 to $1 million. But then I was in Vegas, and it's $400,000 to $500,000.
Yeah,
that's the entry level.
Yeah,
that's the area where it gets clogged. Everybody knows with the area that gets clogged, it's already a faster market.
Can you explain why that is? Is it larger buyer pool or what?
It's a larger buyer pool that is looking for the entry level marketplace to enter into the housing arena for their market. Yeah. So that's where the gravity of them are. So what happens is if we have them already, the speed is faster there. Yeah. And then what you'll do is you'll just add more and more buyers to the mix, and the speed will increase.
Oh, what does that do?
Way faster. And then values go up, and they're competing against each other, and the millennials and Gen Zs can't get anything. Yeah. So I want baby steps. I want to have my cake and eat it too by having 6% rates for the first half of the year. Then we get down into the 5s the second half of the year.
Stability feels good to me.
Right.
Like the general free market without a lot of unnecessary artificial influence from government overreach, right?
Right.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Because it'd be nice to just have, I know that 6% sounds high right now, but we all know it's not. Isn't the average interest rate higher than 6%? And then
going back in time.
Yeah.
But when we plug the 6% with where values are at, that's where and household incomes, that's where there's a problem.
Here's a question. We have been a lot busier than we anticipated being in January.
Wonder why. Could rates be lower right now?
Well, here's my, so I have a little fear in the back of my head that these interest rates are bringing forward demand from spring and summer artificially, and that we're going to have some sort of level off at some point. I'm not trying to, don't worry, realtors and lenders, I'm not trying to be a downer, but I'm more curious like what your thought on that is, because sometimes things happen where it brings forward demand. And starting interest rates a whole percentage point lower than we did last year. People, I want to make sure you heard, we didn't see sub 6.5% interest rates in last year until September. That is our starting point this year. And if that stays, is that demand going to sustain, do you think?
This is not pulling demand forward.
No? Okay.
We have 2 million extra
That's good.
2 million extra households that can now afford to own a home.
So there's plenty of appetite.
There is plenty. And
we're going to have a good year, everyone. Yeah.
It's not like, but we're not saying that we're going to go gargantuan. All of a sudden,
Well, again,
we're not even.
growth,
Yes, we're not going to get even to pending sales levels prior to the pandemic. We're just 2023, 2024, and 2025 look almost identical. That's when they talk about year over year. There's differences. It changes all the time. Whereas when you look at the totals, it's so close because we were stuck in what I refer to as interest rate purgatory between 6.5% and 7.5%, with few exceptions. We got up to 8 for a minute. We got below 6.5 for minutes. But we've been below 6.5% since September 3rd. So now we have a better. We have more buyers that are now qualified.
You know what you should do, Stephen? I just had a thought.
What's that?
You should do a town hall, not for realtors, but for local communities in our marketplace, for actual homeowners and potential buyers to hear it from the horse's mouth, rather than filtered through realtors, which sometimes can be botched.
Yeah,
no offense, realtors.
Everybody out there still thinks. I wish I could have a town hall with everybody with a megaphone, and everybody out there listens. The problem is that they don't want to listen. They still think I'm lying.
Yeah,
they still think I don't know what I'm doing.
You're just a real.
So instead, they want to plug into that matrix out there, the algorithms of where they get that doom stuff because it's soothing to hear it. But the issue with that is it's just simply not going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to address that, and then we'll do a wrap-up about how people find your work. The reason it's soothing, and here's my hunch, to people who feel like doomer housing crash narrative is soothing, in my opinion, that's because they're not in the game and they've chosen not to participate in real estate, and they're hoping for that crash because, of course, it'll allow them then to feel validated, but also eventually get in. But the reality is it's not real. And the longer you wait, and maybe you have some advice for potential scared homeowners on the fence listening, the reality is the longer you wait, especially in places like Orange County, sure, can there be flat years? But in the long trajectory, 3, 5, 10 years, you know what's going to happen.
Right.
You're going to continue to get priced out of the market. And then you have people say, well, I'm going to save more money this year for a down payment. Try this on for size, okay? You are married with kids, you have dual incomes, and you save an extra $30,000 or $40,000 in 1 year. Congratulations. The $1 million house that you were going to buy is now worth $1.1 million. So where does that put you? You've saved 40. The house is worth another $100,000. You're behind by 60. So I want people to understand that, and it's not because I'm trying to be negative or condescending or beat you up. I really want people to understand, like, the longer you wait, the more difficult and challenging your ability to get into the real estate game is going to become.
And we're working with that fixed mortgage that you talked about. I mean, we have this unique situation where you can get into the game and have a fixed rate mortgage. And it might be a little bit more expensive now, but rents will continue to go up. I can show you that over time, as well as it's kind of like one of those things where you qualify for the mortgage, you have a good job, and you sit on it, and you don't worry about what happens to the housing values as long as you can afford it. And that's really what you have to do to get in. And the unfortunate part of everybody following the doomer talk and all that stuff is because at the end of the day, they're listening to people that do not have the credentials. They don't do any background check of what's going on with them and the credentials that the people
But Stephen, they have 2 million followers.
Yeah, and they get paid handsomely. I could be making 7 figures right now because I've seen these guys.
Be salacious, yeah.
I have seen I've seen what they put together, I could duplicate it and sound way more articulate and way more convincing because I know how to do that. And AI will take anything that I say, and you could put in AI and do a rebuttal to this, and they can come up with something. So you can definitely do it and sound really smart. The problem is I have to put my head on the pillow, and I know that's not really what's going to happen. And I understand why millennials and Gen Zs are upset.
You're talking about a word that some people may not be familiar with: integrity.
Integrity.
Yes. Yes.
Doing your due diligence, things like
the
that.
integrity.
It's just how I'm wired, unfortunately. And it's how I connect with people. I want to be as truthful, authentic, and real as I possibly can.
I
and
can tell
vulnerable.
You're doing a good job, by the way. Anybody who can pull off these socks and feel authentic. Feel.
So millennials and Gen Zs, I know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Just so you understand. And millennials and Gen
feel
Zs,
their pain is what
I
you're
feel
saying?
their pain. I understand it, and I have a bunch of kids. I have.
Well, they're right because they've been priced out of the market.
Yeah.
My offer to them is you're overthinking this. Just buy a stepping stone property, you guys. You don't need the fancy turnkey single family home. Go to a place you maybe wouldn't be your first choice to live because it's a drive from where you work or whatever.
Or needs a lot of work.
I can tell you the sense of purpose and pride of ownership and accomplishment when you're the one that did all the sweat equity to get the home over the course of 5 years to where it needs to be. And in that time, it's appreciated, not just because of what you've done to it, because values come on up. That is going to be very fulfilling. And you don't get to start that until you actually jump in. But don't try to buy Shangri-La. Just buy something that needs love.
Yeah, that's it. A little TLC doesn't hurt. So, and millennials and Gen Zs, I know where they're coming from. So they've been burned for so long.
Sorry,
and
guys.
They're waiting to come in. They're waiting to come in. We actually have pent up buyer's demand because they've been waiting. We've done 1 million fewer transactions for several years in a row, and they're sitting on the sidelines. They're going, can I please get a break?
Yeah.
Because they wanted to purchase and when rates were really low, and they couldn't, because who was winning? Baby boomers and Gen Xers.
Get that 1-bedroom condo that needs
They're the
love.
ones that got it. And then,
Yeah, 1-bedroom condo that needs love. There's down payment assistance programs. You don't have money in the bank. Down payment assistance
rent a
programs.
room.
Rent a room. There's ways to do it.
Doing it.
If you're not willing to have the conversation with people like us, we can't show you the way. So you got to kind of step up to the plate. All right, Stephen, and wrap up. Thank you for your time, by the way.
Oh, you betcha.
How do they get a hold of you? If somebody's like, oh my gosh, I need to subscribe to his work. Where do they find you?
Yeah, reportsonhousing.com.
Right on.
That's weird. And that's our handle too.
And that's,
YouTube,
so that's your website.
Reports on Housing.
Okay, so anything like so your
pretty much
YouTube
Reports on
channel,
Housing,
and the average consumer probably should follow you on YouTube to find your work.
Instagram, Reports on Housing.
Yes, we collaborate all the time. It's always an honor and a pleasure. I'm grateful for your support. I've known this guy for a very long time. He saw me grow up in the industry. To be honest, I'm still growing up. I can't even remember my lines in a podcast interview. Jeez. That's 3 hours of sleep last night in my defense.
Get it. You get it.
All right, Stephen. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.